It's all about the money, and if you're a graduate of college, I have to tell you, it's probably one of the hardest things you're going to deal with, making that transition to start finally thinking about your financial future. But here to talk Money Monday, our favorite, and he is wearing a shirt that just thumbs you up because you are the boss. Carlin.
It is Money Monday. What I got to do?
We're talking about financial tips for college graduates, and it could be tricky because, you know, now you're finished with school, you're trying to get that job and get into your profession. And it's one of the hardest things to figure out, oh, now I have to actually start thinking about my financial future.
Yeah, because everyone thinks, oh, well, the hard part is studying for exams and it's having to cram and all that whole college life. And then once I get to work, it'll be easy.
Yeah, it's never easy.
It's never easy. But from a financial perspective, it is hard because you got to start to figure out, you know, how am I going to put these pieces together? So as a first step, I want everybody to go out there and create a budget.
Create a budget, which is the hardest thing to do because once you do finally get that job and you have a little money coming in, you get excited. And as a college student, you want to spend it.
That's right. So can we maybe call it boundaries for college graduates instead of budget? So we want to do financial boundaries and you know, essentially what we really want you people to do is to take a look at your gross pay when you get that first job, and then take a look how much the taxes are when you get in your first paycheck to get a sense of what's really coming in the door.
Right, because that's the money you're actually going to be working with. We're going to talk about 5 different steps. So let's get on to number 2. Affordable housing. And a lot of times once you get out on college, you're still in that little lump of where you can't really afford to be out on your own, so you got to have a roommate.
Yeah, well, we see for college grads, we love the fact that they would take on a roommate because that's going to save you hundreds or thousands of dollars a month depending upon what situation you get into with roommates. So it's certainly the most financially responsible. And the key is for those college grads, what I want you to remember is that between 25 to 30% of your gross total pay is what I want you to pay on a monthly basis, maximum for your rent. 25 to 30%. So if you're coming out of college and you're making 40 grand, if that's the number, and you know the 25% is $1,000 a month, or 1,000 if it's 4,000 a month. It's 1,000 a month rent. 25%.
And you don't want to go over that because then you're really stepping outside of that boundary that you're trying to stay in.
Because you've got to factor taxes, you've got to factor life and credit card and having fun and trips.
And your student loan.
That's right. All of the above.
All right, tip number 3: control your credit, because when you're in college, sometimes you're racking it up. Or racking it up. So how do you control it to manage it so it starts to dwindle down and you can pay it down?
That's the first step. This is perfect. So the first step I want everyone to do is what your credit card debt is, examine it, pay it down as quickly as possible, because no amount and nowhere can you save it that you can earn as much as your credit card interest is charging you a month. So
that's a good tip.
First, pay off that credit card debt. And then secondly, once it's gone, do not buy it unless you can afford to pay it off that month.
Okay, so if you can afford to pay off that credit card to have a zero balance every month, then you can afford to use your credit card.
That's the perfect boundary. Not even budget, but boundary for the college grad.
But that's also a really good life lesson tip, because a lot of times you don't. You figure, oh, I got a credit card or another credit card. I'll just put it on that and it's going to work out. You
know what the other killer is? That 0% interest thing that they end up kind of enticing you to buy things that you weren't ready to buy yet.
Right.
So don't fall for it.
Don't fall for it. Oh my goodness, such good information, but it's kind of tricky, but we're trying to put them on the right track. Remember, just these 5 basic steps and you'll be home free. Okay, so this is the number 1 thing, because when you get out of school, you think you are a baller because you've landed that big job, you've got your degree, and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. You have to stay in your lane.
You can't, So, and you know what the biggest problem of that is? Social media, right? So social media, what studies have found is that for adults, not even kids, but adults, 4 out of 10 adults see an item on social media and then they research to buy the same thing. So be aware of that. You're a college grad, you're starting out, be aware that you're going to be on social media and you're going to see something. Resist that temptation to buy things that you can't afford and keep up with the Joneses. You want that new car. I know. We get it. There's a time and place for everything, but keep taking control of your finances is key.
You have to be practical. And that's the hard thing. You have to be practical. All right, last and not least, we got to start an emergency fund, because you do have to save.
You have to save, and that's what most people forget. So they're like, okay, great, I'm going to save in my retirement plan. I got my mortgage, my rent figured out. I got all these different components, but I need you to have an emergency fund because things happen, life happens.
It does.
So go out and create an online bank account like Bank of Internet, something like that, where you actually have the auto draft from your paycheck directly.
So you don't even see it.
Don't get it done direct.
See, this is why he's the boss. Money Monday with Michael Carlin. More information is on managethefunds.com. And, of course, we'll have a link on our website, aztv.com. More to come on the show, so don't go anywhere.